Привет, друзья, and welcome back to Be Fluent in Russian podcast. This is a podcast where you can train your listening primarily, maybe sometimes vocabulary, sometimes maybe some grammar things, but mostly listening stuff. And during these podcasts, I typically have a monologue or I read something or we do more vocabulary-based practices. But if you're interested in learning Russian and diving deeper into Russian, then this podcast is for you. Today, we have a short story called Моя семья, my family. And this story is taken from lingua.com website. This is not my story. And yes, we've taken it from them. And I will read it slowly. And your task, this is A1 vocabulary, okay? So if you are A1, A2, maybe intermediate level, you should have no problem with understanding this text. I'll read it first fully, just without any stops, anything like that. And then I will read it again with translations. And meanwhile, I will give you, maybe the second time we read, I'll give you a few seconds to think and kind of guess what the sentence means or translate it yourself. This is also a great task of translation and vocabulary because you don't see the text and you can only listen to it and see how good your comprehension by listening is. Most of the time we are great at reading, sometimes good at writing sentences, but when it comes to listening, it's very hard to understand sometimes what the sentence means because the words are jammed together. So it's going to be a great practice in my opinion. And let's get right into this text. Моя семья, my family. У меня большая семья из 6 человек. Я, мама, папа, старшая сестра, бабушка и дедушка. Мы живем все вместе с собакой Бимом и кошкой Муркой в большом доме в деревне. Мой папа встает раньше всех, потому что ему рано на работу. Он работает доктором. Обычно бабушка готовит нам завтрак. Я обожаю овсяную кашу, а моя сестра Аня – блины. После завтрака мы собираемся и идем в школу. Моя сестра учится в 5 классе, а я во 2. Мы любим учиться и играть с друзьями. Больше всего я люблю географию. Когда мы приходим домой из школы, мы смотрим телевизор, а потом ужинаем и делаем уроки. Иногда мы помогаем бабушке и маме в огороде, где они выращивают овощи и фрукты. That's it. So, short text. Please, right now, take a few seconds, maybe even pause this podcast, and try to translate the whole thing. What did you understand from this? If you have a second, if you have a piece of paper in front of you, write it down. A few sentences. This text is about X, Y, and Z. Okay? Take a few seconds. And now we're going to continue reading this text again, sentence by sentence, and I will translate each sentence. But before I translate it, I'll give you some time to do it yourself first. Okay? So, let's get right into this. У меня большая семья из 6 человек. That's the first part. How did you understand this one? У меня большая семья means I have a big family. This one I think is pretty easy. Из 6 человек. Out of 6 people. So a family of 6 people. Из 6 человек means of 6 people. Then they mention their family members, which is also pretty good, I guess, vocabulary practice for you. Я, мама, папа, старшая сестра, бабушка и дедушка. I think the only one that you would not know maybe is старшая сестра. Of course, я, mama, papa means I, mom, and dad. Старшая сестра is, we're gonna get back to this. Бабушка и дедушка, grandmother and grandfather. I think these are the most simple words that everybody learns kind of first thing. But старшая сестра means an older sister. Сестра, of course, is sister. Старшая means older. Старшая. You might know the word старый or старая, which means old. But старшая means older when it comes to, we use this word when we're talking about typically siblings and who is older in a group of people. Okay, старшая. And vice versa, младшая, or младший for masculine, is younger. Then the next sentence, мы живем все вместе. How would you translate this one? Мы живем все вместе means we live all together. Then the sentence continues, с собакой Бимом и кошкой Муркой. How would you translate that one? С собакой Бимом means with a dog named Beam. И кошкой Муркой with a cat named Murka. Okay, so actually one cultural note here is that Beam is kind of a very popular name to call a dog in Russia, and Murka is a very popular name to call a cat in Russia. Typically, if you don't know the name of the kind of dog or a cat, you can always kind of guess and call a dog Beam and call a cat Murka. That's kind of the default names, really. And then they continue, в большом доме в деревне. How do you translate that? В большом доме means in a big house. В деревне means in a village, okay, or in a countryside. Мой папа встает раньше всех, потому что ему рано на работу. How did you understand this sentence? Мой папа встает раньше всех is the first part. And it means my dad gets up earlier than everyone. So мой папа, my dad. Встает means gets up or wakes up. Раньше всех, earlier than everyone. The second part of the sentence is потому что ему рано на работу. Because he has to go to work early. Он работает доктором. How would you translate this sentence? Very easy. Он работает доктором. He works as a doctor. Then, обычно бабушка готовит нам завтрак. Kind of easy too, you should know this. If you don't, it's not a problem because I'm going to translate this for you right now, and then you can learn this sentence and learn individual components and individual words in it too. Обычно бабушка готовит нам завтрак. Typically, grandmother cooks us breakfast. Я обожаю овсяную кашу, а моя сестра Аня блины. Now this one is a bit harder to understand just by listening because a few words are not that common. So, я обожаю овсяную кашу. I'm not even going to give you too much time here because I'm sure that a lot of you guys would not know this one word in particular. So, я обожаю means I love. But обожаю is like I love a lot. Я обожаю, I adore, I love so much. Овсяную кашу means porridge or oatmeal. Каша is porridge. And овсяная is the oats, so oatmeal, I guess. It's, I guess, the closest to it. The only difference between oatmeal kind of culture, I guess, in the States, at least what I have experienced, is that the oatmeal is made with water. And in Russia, oatmeal is made with milk. I'm not sure why that's the case. Maybe because, we have a lot of our agricultural stuff and a lot of villages back in the day, maybe clean water wasn't something that was readily available for eating. You have to probably boil the water to make it clean. But milk is coming out of the cow. If you have cows in your backyard, if you live in a village, you most likely have fresh milk daily available to you. Maybe that's why it's one of the reasons why Russians eat a lot of milk and dairy products as a whole. So that's just my speculation. I don't know. I don't want to claim to be an expert in this, but that's just my guess. So our oatmeal is made with milk most of the time. Then the sentence continues. А моя сестра Аня блины. And my sister Anya блины. Блины means pancakes, or if you know what блины is, then you know what I'm talking about. It's like crepes, thin pancakes, very, very thin. So, why in this sentence we have я обожаю овсяную кашу, I love oatmeal, а моя сестра Аня блины, but my sister Anya pancakes or crepes. Why do we have this a in here? What's the purpose of a? In Russian, we have three major conjunctions, which is words that connect sentences. So we have I love, and then my sister loves. We have to connect those two kind of parts of a sentence with a conjunction. And we have three main ones. We have e, when we kind of add two parts together when they are the same, very, very similar parts. We have no, which means but, when we contrast the first part with the second part. I can say, I did this, but you didn't, right? So we contrast the two parts. But we have the third one, a. A is somewhere in the middle. It's not really contradicting the first part, doesn't really contradict the second part, but also the first part is different from the second part of the sentence. And in this one, I loved oatmeal, but my sister loves crepes or pancakes. It's not necessarily contradicting one another, but we simply want to show the difference between the two. I guess a better translation of a is not but while. I love oatmeal while my sister Anya loves pancakes. Okay? So that's what a means, and that's when it's used. После завтрака мы собираемся и идем в школу. How would you translate this one? So, this one means after breakfast. После завтрака means after breakfast. Мы собираемся, we are getting ready or getting together or getting packed, I guess. И идем в школу. And we go to school. Моя сестра учится в 5 классе, а я во 2. So, kind of easy, not too easy, but how would you translate this sentence? So, we translate it as моя сестра, my sister, учится в 5 классе, is studying in the 5th grade, or goes to 5th grade. 5 means 5th. А я во 2, and I go to the 2nd grade, or I study in the 2nd grade. Again, we have this a here, because my sister goes to 5th grade, while I go to the 2nd grade. That's kind of the meaning of a here. Мы любим учиться и играть с друзьями. How would you translate this one? Мы любим учиться means we love to learn or to study. И играть с друзьями means and to play with friends. This is, I guess I love to play with friends, but not to study too much. I didn't like to study when I was in school. Больше всего я люблю географию. Больше всего я люблю географию. How would you translate this one? So, больше всего я люблю географию means I love geography more than anything else. So, I love the subject of geography more than anything else. Then we have когда мы приходим домой из школы, мы смотрим телевизор, а потом ужинаем и делаем уроки. Long sentence, but let's break it down into small sections. Когда мы приходим домой из школы. How did you understand this one? Когда мы приходим домой из школы means when we come back home from school. Когда мы приходим, when we come back or come. Домой means home. Из школы, from school. Мы смотрим телевизор. We watch TV. А потом ужинаем, and then we have dinner. И делаем уроки. And do our homework or do our lessons. Иногда мы помогаем бабушке и маме в огороде, где они выращивают овощи и фрукты. Иногда мы помогаем means sometimes we help бабушке и маме we help our grandma and mom в огороде. Огород means garden or I guess the garden, but it's not the garden where you have flowers. It's the garden where you have fruits and vegetables and things like that, typically. And then the sentence continues, где они выращивают овощи и фрукты. Where they grow vegetables and fruits. Выращивают means they grow. And that's it. That's all that the text had for us. I hope that you were able to understand this and kind of translate this stuff better. I hope that this was useful to you. And I'll see you all during our Be Fluent camp. You can join us with the link in the description and see when the start date is. We do them twice a year. And if you click on the link, you will see the closest date, the closest start date. And that's it. See you all then. Пока-пока.